Hey guys, how's it been going? This is JSer. This video is about TypeScript, so let's take a look at the third chapter of the TypeScript handbook. It's functions. Okay, this is the function declaration. This is function expression, right? Yeah, use function. This will declare the function. This treat this function as a variable. So this function expression. It's also valid, and this function is without type actually. For this x, you see that it's any. In TypeScript, we could add the type information, which is like this. We could say, okay, this function add accept two numbers. So x is number, y is number, and it returns a number. Use this column here. The following one type is the returning type. Also for function expression, it's also the same. Well, this is pretty obvious, right? Okay. And then we actually, rather than we define the types for the parameters and the return value, we could define the function type. This is the function type. It means the arguments are two numbers and returning is a number. So we could define that add. This is a function with this type, and this is the function, the body. Function body is like this. But actually, we don't need to define the parameters anymore, type for, because we already defined the type for this function. So yeah, I think it's okay. Actually, we don't need this. Let's write it down. Okay, I'll try. You see, because my add is already had this type, and we can actually TypeScript is clever enough to know that x and y are all numbers. You see, this is number, this is y is number because they're from here, and returning value is also number. Actually, we don't need this one. Actually, we could say this is a number, and this is also a number, and we don't need to define the returning value because TypeScript is clever enough. You see that this is number, so the sum of two numbers are always a number. So the returning value for this function is also a number, you see. So yeah, TypeScript is very clever. So for util functions, this might be good enough. Personally, I won't define a separate function type like this. It's actually cumbersome. It's not. It's verbals. Yeah. Personally, I like this better. For sometimes like there's a possible complex logic within this function body, I would add a type here. Like say you just define a async function, you might be want to add a promise like number, something like this. Okay, let's say if we return a promise, return new promise, but actually TypeScript doesn't know what you will resolve, right? It's within another function. So if I don't have this one, what would it be? It will be, yeah, my this return the promise, but the resolved value is unknown. So TypeScript doesn't know what you're resolving. You say, okay, I resolve a number. Then you say you could add the type, say, okay, I resolve a number. Yeah. Okay, yeah, and then inferring the types. Oh yeah, so this is what I said. The TypeScript actually knows that you're returning a number. You mean the TypeScript can figure out the type even if you only have types on the one side of the equation. This number is actually not needed here. Optional and default parameters. This is from JavaScript. Oh no, optional is not. The default parameter is actually JavaScript supported also. Okay, so this is the first one. Is define the first name and last name. They're also all required, but you actually called it with only one first name. Then TypeScript said, okay, the second one is missing. You added and you added extra 3. TypeScript says, okay, we're only accepting 2 arguments. There will be too many arguments. Okay, so for this one, you could add the question mark here just to name it optional, so then you cannot call it with only one parameter or two. Both are okay, but three parameters are not okay because TypeScript is strict about this. You could also say the default parameters, and this is when you don't pass in the second parameters. You will be treated as Smith, and TypeScript is clever enough to infer the type of second parameters. You see that you pass in a string, so the second one here, you see the first name and last name is string. So remember, TypeScript, actually the powerful part is the inference. It's clever enough for us to omit the type definition. If not, it gotta be too verbose to do, right? Okay, this is it. And the rest parameters, there you say that you receive arbitrary a number of parameters. You could use the rest operators to say, okay, the first one is first name, and then it would be a bunch of strings. Then I can pass in any numbers of string. Cool. Still, we could pass in like a tuple, right? Yeah. Let's try example to name it a tuple. Okay, like say string. Also, like let's say string. Is this working? I'm not sure. Okay, then build name. What is it? Okay, let's call it build name, like string. The rest, you see that it should be, the first one is string, the second one is number. You see, first name is string, rest of name 0 is string, the 1 is number. So I need to pass a string and a number. Yeah, if this is another string, it's gonna fail because this is a tuple. TypeScript is clever. Okay, these. In the interview, you will be asked that what this is point bound to, right? In different situations. So this is an example. This is an object, and there is a normal function. This function, and it returns a closure function. This function actually will call this, right? So this is how it is called. It call it, and this is actually the function called figure. This is the anonymous function, and you call it. So this actually is set to the windows, right? This is a common trick, a common problem. This here is a window. So this is not cool. You see that this here is any, right? Let's try the code here. This is warning here. Implicit has any because we don't know where this is bound. And now we change the function to arrow function. Now this arrow function actually will be bound to this function, where this function is used. So in this case, when this, it said this suits. This is not right actually. This actually is pointing to this function. So when it create card, this is called picker. It seems as I am making a mistake. No. Okay. When it is called the create card picker, these for this function is bound to the deck. So even if you call it again, this is still bound to the deck. It doesn't mean this is bound to the deck here. So I'm not sure, unless it's run, you cannot say that this is to this deck, right? I see. So actually, this is interesting. I think this is not true. Let's say there's a deck 2. Deck 2. Okay, and the function is deck this. All right. Yeah, and then we call it deck. We call deck2 who deck2 and create code picker. So this, right? This code picker, we lock this. See the log. You see that this actually is empty. This is decker. Okay, let's A3. Yeah, you see that this actually is pointing to the deck2. So when I hover it, it says this one. It's actually not right. I mean, maybe I'm getting this wrong. But this is not right. Okay. Okay. This is kind of misleading. Regard this. This is weird. This I'm going to report this one. This is just not right. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is totally wrong, right? We log it. This is to the scope of this function. It's not to this object. Haha. I'm going to try to create an issue on the GitHub. Okay. Okay, so about this one, actually, these we could add type info for this. We actually added to the first parameters. This is special parameters. If you set this to void, it means this unusable. You cannot set this function to bind this function to other object, like say like this, right? It's okay, but when you call it, I'm sorry, A.F. Huh? Void? Wait a minute. You said this is void. You actually could use it. It doesn't allow this usage within this function body. Okay. Okay, let's change the example like this. So interface card, deck, interface like this, and create card picker. Picker actually had this as deck, so it means this create card picker could only be called within deck, right? Which with the deck interface. Yeah. So yeah, this is the function type. Okay, so this is deck, and then we have function return this. Now this. The other is the same. So let's run the example here. Now we have this. This has deck because it's set here. So if this is not deck, like say this is not cards, these are problem, right? Okay. This is not deck, and return this one, remove this one. Until now, there's no problem. But when you call it, it says this context is not right. So you make sure that this function would only be bound to the specific type. And this is not right. If we add the cards, it will be okay, I think, because the interface matches. Okay. So this is it. And I think the last one is overloads. It's just the something similar to the Java or other languages. Say we have a pick card, we return different type of values depending on the parameters. So how should we do? Of course, we could use any, but it's not safe. So we actually use overloads by creating these type of definitions in order. The first one, the second one. So this function actually has two types, and then we add the real implementation. In it, we have this type. Okay, let's run this code. So now when we hover on the pick card here, if we call this pick card with deck, this my deck, this is array. So actually this is an object, right? So the first one, pick card, the number will be returned. So the my pick card, you see that return value is a number. But here, if you pass in a number, it will be this. So return the returns this object with suit and card. Yeah, is this that's returned this one. So actually there will be two overloads for this function. The third one is not overload. It's just a real implementation. Can we change this? Any is not good. Let's change it to something more. I think better is something like this. We just define this return the new value could be this two, right? Function lacks any return statement. If any else. So actually for x, is there any? So we change also the parameters to this or number. Still, this is an object. Okay, if this is not object, x length, not good. Okay. The else if, so there's actually something here is undefined, right? Actually, we need to add void, but this couldn't be true. So rather than this, we'll just use else here. It must be number. So we else. Yeah, this could be better without using any. Remember, the functions without the body will be the type, the overloads, and with the body will be the implementation. Can we have the body here? No, it's kind of, if you have multiple bodies will generate an error, duplicate font implementation. Cool. This overload is very commonly used in kind of libraries, right? Those libraries which supports dynamic data like Lodash. It just use these kind of overloads very often. And pretty useful. Okay, that's all for the functions. Very important, very interesting. Hope it helps. Let's review the last time for the these, and let's see what it is written here. In JavaScript, this is a variable that's set when the function is called. This makes it a powerful and flexible feature, but it comes to the cost of always having to know about the context that the function is executing in. This is notoriously confusing. Yeah? We can fix this by making sure the function is bound to the correct this before we return the function to be used later. This way, regardless how it's used later, it will still be able to see the original deck object. This is wrong. To do this, we can change the function expression. This is wrong. This actually bound to the scope of this function. It's not the deck. Okay, I'm going to create an issue for this. Okay, hope it helps. See you next time. Bye bye.